Good morning and welcome to Bolton. I'm Joyce Stilley, the Administrative Officer for the Town of Bolton, and this is a live show done the first and the third Tuesdays of each month from 10:30 to 11 a.m. The show is rebroadcast on the second and fourth Tuesdays at the same time. The show is a continuing effort to promote open communications within the community, and if you have any ideas for shows you would like to see covered, or upcoming events, or just have some questions, please contact me at the Town Hall and we will try to get a show on the air that covers that specific topic. We've gone over a variety of things, and it's my pleasure today to welcome, after a period of time that we had Trooper Tilley in town. He retired the end of March, yes, I guess it was. And we have a new trooper, a new resident state trooper. And my guest today is Resident State Trooper David Pila. Welcome.
Thank you, Joyce.
And you've been here now a few weeks, and actually we were supposed to have done the show a few weeks ago, but the snow for the day did us in.
Yeah, the continuing snow saga, right?
That's it. And you come to us, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I came to the Connecticut State Police in 1989 from Western Massachusetts and relocated to Connecticut. And I've been a Connecticut State Trooper here at Troop K for the last 23 years in various capacities. I was working various patrols as a rookie, such as North Patrol, which covers the town of Bolton, and the other patrols within the Troop K area on different shifts. After that, I was assigned to the Wyndham Heights complex, Wyndham Heights Task Force, quality of life community policing aspect down there in Wyndham. After that, I was assigned a canine team. I was a canine handler of a patrol dog, German Shepherd, and that was for about 4 years. And then from there, I went with my canine team to the town of East Haddam, where I was a resident trooper in East Haddam for approximately three and a half years. And all other times in between, I've been on patrol here at Troop K.
And when you talk about North Patrol, that does involve Bolton, and you've spent considerable time in Bolton over the course. Not that we have a lot of crime, but considerable time in Bolton, and are very familiar with it to begin with.
Yes, I'm very familiar with the town of Bolton, a number of the residents. I'm familiar with the fire department staff. A lot of your highway department I'm already familiar with. So I beat the learning curve on that aspect of the position here that I was offered.
And quite a change to having a dog and then coming back off the canine, but it's a different experience, I'm quite sure.
It is. It is. They're all good experiences, in the various capacities on our job, whether it's a specialized unit, such as a resident trooper, canine handler, or any of the other numerous units that we have. You expand your horizons, you get to know different people, and as a resident trooper, you get to know in a more intimate way the people within one community as opposed to several communities. And as a patrol trooper, you don't get that opportunity to meet people within a town and develop relationships or friendships or contacts within the town to help police the town. Patrol trooper regularly jumps from patrol to patrol, depending on the cases he has in any given town. So one day he might be in Bolton, and maybe for another week and a half he might not return to that town as a patrol trooper. But as a resident trooper, you're assigned to the one town as supplement, and you get to know the community in a better way.
And we still have Kevin on as our second shift trooper. And between the two of you, we have coverage day and second shift, but we always have that coverage, just as you did North Patrol. We always have that coverage from the barracks. Yes,
I was always up here. I spent a good part of my shift meeting up with Trooper First Class Tilley, who recently retired, and we'd talk, whether it's over lunch or just meeting up over what's going on in the town, and various cases that we had that we need to touch base with each other on. So it is good learning experience to meet up with these guys.
So why did you want to be a resident state trooper in Bolton?
I like the town. I've liked the town for a number of years, and it's got a lot of history behind it. And again, like I said, I know a lot of people within this community, and I was waiting for this position to open up, and holding out by holding off on putting on in for other positions within other communities that had opened up, excuse me, within our troop area. So I was waiting for a position I really wanted, and this was a great town, and it is a great town to work in.
And we were talking before the show that you actually just recently ran into two of our former resident state troopers, going back a ways to Bob Peterson.
Yes.
And then Rich Walsh.
Right. I met Bob Peterson. He looked very familiar. I may have met him at Troop K luncheon for retired alumni, but we were having a meet and greet at the senior center right across the street here, and he approached me afterwards, and then I recognized him, and we talked for a while. And it's nice to see people like him within the community that have served in our position as a resident trooper and as a trooper for the state of Connecticut as a trooper, and for as many years as he did. And then I met with Rich Walsh several days ago as well. And I worked with Rich myself as a patrol trooper on patrol when he was the resident trooper up here in town. So we are familiar with one another. I actually think I received one of his hand-me-down cars. He got the new car, and me as a rookie got his older car. So, yeah, we go back quite a ways.
But that's, you know, over the course of time, we've had some troopers in and out, but they've all brought that level of professionalism and caring about Bolton that I think speaks highly of the resident state trooper program.
I completely agree. You have to have your heart in the community. You have to do the right thing and make a difference. Bottom line is you have to make a difference, and you know, I want to make a difference in the people that live within this community, and you do that by you know, proper policing techniques, whether it's motor vehicle enforcement, slowing down the traffic, discouraging texting while driving, inattentive driving, wearing the seatbelt. We all know that there's seatbelt waves within the state of Connecticut.
Right.
They usually run in conjunction with most of the holidays, Christmas, New Year's. You'll hear it click or ticket on the radio. It's important to wear the seatbelt. Okay, if I can keep from someone being hurt by, you know, instilling upon them to wear the seatbelt, then I've done my job.
And that's one thing that I don't think people still necessarily do or believe in, but having been a member of the fire department and you as a trooper, people injured or killed in accidents, the number not wearing seatbelts versus seatbelts is astronomical.
It absolutely is. I've had many occasions throughout my career that unfortunately if the young adult had been wearing the seatbelt, they would have walked away from an accident.
Yes.
I can't impose enough upon people to wear the seatbelt. It will keep you from serious injury, and it will save your life. There's no doubt about it. I've seen it. I've seen it plenty of times. And I've seen serious accidents where someone has worn their seatbelt and, I mean, serious damage, and they have walked away with minimal injury. You know, I've been on patrol for a number of years in that capacity, so I've been investigating a lot of accidents. So wear the seatbelt. And
I know even the selecting the resident state trooper, the town is really not involved in it. It's all done by the state police, but it is a rigorous process for you to go through to be selected to be our resident trooper as well.
Yes, I mean we are governed by an administration and operations manual, and there's a number of things in there that you have to study to know what your job is within the town and as a resident state trooper. many different things you'll deal with, whether it's juveniles or things at the schools, school safety. There's a number of things you have to know that go along with the interview process and the background, the resume, and the oral board.
And I know you were in Bolton actually during the blizzard, because you joined us at Town Hall, that you had the pleasure of even being out. People may not think about that, but
Right.
you guys are out all the time. That's your job.
It is, and when you have a storm like that, we're out. I stopped in your EOC, Emergency Operations Center there, and you had a wonderful setup there, and a number of your town officials were there. I met a bunch of your highway department folks, and but that was we've had the misfortune of getting whacked pretty hard here in New England over the past couple of years, and I worked through those storms last year as well. And but yeah, we have to be out there.
And since you've been here, I know that you've made rounds already introducing yourself to various groups. You've been to the school and town hall, and
I've been, as I already said, I had a meet and greet with the senior center. They had some students singing choir before I came on, which was nice for them. And then I had a meet.
You didn't want to join them?
Maybe a little cadence. But it was great, wonderful. And I've, like I said, I already know most, if not all, the fire department personnel from my years patrolling the town here, other than maybe a few new hired members. I met the school superintendent and the principals in both schools. And I'm familiar with many of the business owners in town already, but I've touched base again just to reintroduce myself as the Bolton Resident Trooper on day shift.
And for those who still may not be aware, that your office is actually in the old Pastrito house right next to the town hall.
Yes, it's right next to the town hall. It's right there in the center of town.
Yes.
Right next to the monument honoring our war veterans.
And let's talk a little bit about current concerns that might be up in Bolton that you've seen as your short period of time or as you've been on patrol here.
Current concerns, not too bad as far as criminal activity. There's a burglary I was just made aware of the other day in town. That burglary is going to be solved with a number of others through some good police work by a number of our troopers from the towns of Sprague all the way down to Salem and in between. And it was good joint police effort by our troopers. And I understand that a number of arrest warrants are going to be coming down for those suspects. In addition to that, I just want to caution, the seniors in our community. I just had an incident in Columbia where a senior was nearly taken advantage of all her savings. And it's something that's on the rise, and I think it's been in the newspaper. I think I've seen it in the Hartford Courant, and I've heard it on the radio. But there's people that are gaining information of seniors, relatives, most of which grandsons, granddaughters, and they're using that to try and extort money from them by using their feelings, saying that they're in trouble. And most of these suspects are from out of this country. We've had a number of victims, not necessarily in the town of Bolton, but surrounding communities where this has occurred. And as you might imagine, investigating something where a suspect is from out of country is next to impossible, right. Bringing that to a good resolve. So I just caution any of our seniors out there in the community to, don't give out personal information. Don't give out personal information. If you think something might be wrong, most likely your first sense is right. Correct. And it will be wrong. And consult with maybe your son, a grandson, or call the person they say that's actually in trouble, okay, before money's extorted out of you. Other than that, I've been doing some checking around areas that I know sometimes have a problematic area for or accident prone. As you know, our top end of our town is kind of like it's a collector area.
Yes.
We have Route 44 from Yukon, high travel area in the morning for students. And we have Route 6 coming up for Hartford traffic to 6 and 44 going on to 384 and in reverse. And if there's inclement weather, that becomes a problem. Especially, I've been noticing just in my 2 weeks here, I'm not going to tell you where my spot is, but I've set up in town, and there's been I've noticed an awful lot of texting while driving, and this is not just from younger adults. This is from older adults as well. So that's an issue I see that I'm going to have to address.
I just don't know how people can text and drive to begin with. But that's
believe it or not, I saw one of the motor vehicle stops I had. The older person I had stopped was texting with both hands, and the steering wheel was on the right leg to kind of guide the car along. And every once in a while, you're like, it's really bad, really bad. So if we can stop some of that, we're going to prevent some accidents. Okay, and in the midst of that stop, if I see that they're not wearing a seatbelt, I'll encourage them to wear the seatbelt.
And that's probably in Bolton. We're blessed with not having a lot of crime necessarily. So a lot of the troopers' work is kind of a proactive approach rather
Correct.
than a reactive approach.
Correct. And, when you're not going to calls, you're going to be out in your community. You're going to be on those developments, whatever part of town they are, and you're going to be meeting the people that live within those communities. And they may approach you. They may say, hey, they might be afraid to call. They might think it's nothing, but they might approach you if you're actually in their community and say, I saw this car, just to let you know. That's good, okay? If I can get more of the community to help me do my job, it'll keep the town of Bolton safer, okay? The more people, the more eyes I can enlist to help me, the more crime we're going to solve, and the safer this town's going to be. Even if you just jot it down. If you think it's nothing, okay, jot a plate, a description, person description down on a piece of paper. If something happens a week down the road where there becomes a problem, that could be the crucial piece of evidence we need to solve that case, okay? And the more eyes in the community that you have, whether it be our seniors or someone's or it's a school vacation. It could be a young adult, it could be a 16-year-old. Hey, I see this car in the neighborhood, it doesn't belong, it's not my neighbor's car, and they look suspicious, okay? You can call the barracks or the resident trooper's office. If a call is made to the resident trooper's office, it automatically rolls over after approximately 4 rings to the Troop K barracks, okay? And we'll address those concerns as they come in.
And that's one of the things that should definitely talk about is we know what looks out of place in our own community. I mean, we really do.
Absolutely.
And to be helpful in that. And any vendor that comes in, like it used to be encyclopedia salesman,
Right.
Now it's books or other things.
Yep.
But they have to register with the town.
You're right.
And we're made aware of it, and we always let the troopers know
Right.
as well. So if there ever is a question
Right.
about a salesman coming around, or can
Right.
are you interested in this?
Right.
There's ways to check.
Absolutely.
And certainly follow through.
I was just on patrol last week up on Tallinn Road in the northeastern part of our town. And there was a group of individuals, and they looked out of place, suspicious, but they were actually legitimate business, identified them as such, and I asked them if they had stopped by the town hall to register, so we know, and we're not getting concerns from citizens who may be nervous or concerned, and so they said they were going to stop by the town hall. I think solar panels, or a lot of times in the summertime you have college students trying to
Right.
sell, like you said, books or paint or whatever the business may be. It's maybe a legitimate business, but to put people's nerves at ease, we need to register with the town hall.
Yes, and Certainly to follow through on that, that's part of living in a community such as Bolton. We are small enough to be able to be active and be supportive of each other.
Absolutely.
As compared to, if you lived in a larger town, if you lived in Hartford, you simply could not do the same work that you could do in Bolton.
Absolutely not. And I have great respect for those officers out there and those cities. They do an absolute phenomenal job for what they have to.
Having
police.
worked in Willimantic, you've seen
Wyndham Heights,
very
and
digress.
It's a lot different than here in town. A little different type of policing and different community, but it's very good.
And, we've talked a little bit, and I shared with you that you were talking about the scams, and I'd shared with you that actually my mother had been called like that it was supposedly my nephew, her grandson, that, it was a cell phone so that it was not clear to begin with,
Right.
which was a good technique, but said, that he was in Canada and had been arrested
Right.
and needed bail money.
Right. And sometimes they'll say it's an officer, like in the
Yes.
the incident I told you about in Columbia, just before I came to town here. The woman had a sheet of paper and it said Officer Hansen. Well, she wouldn't even let me. That person had her on hold because she went to the bank, withdrew almost everything she had from her savings account, which to all of us is a lot of money, but for a
yes.
senior that's living on assisted living, $4,500 is an awful lot of money.
Yes.
I credit the bank who contacted the state police. They said something's wrong. She's nervous. She's in here all the time, but she never withdraws this amount of cash. I give them great credit for that, for being heads up. I went to her apartment, and she was very shaken up about a similar incident. Her nephew didn't sound like her nephew, but she was concerned that it was actually him. And she was ready to go to a town, several towns away, in a light snowfall and wire some money to a phone number that was from Montreal, the Montreal, Canada area. Fairly disturbing. I finally convinced her to let me hold the phone and talk to this person. She was still on hold when the person got on the line. I basically said, I identified myself as a trooper, and he had an expletive and hung up the phone. So
There's your clue.
there's the clue. Yeah.
But it's becoming more and more frequent, as you talked about.
Is.
And
It is.
that's what's scary.
And they play off. Most of our seniors have solid hearts, and they're very genuine people, and they play off their emotions, and they do some research to find out who's related to them, and that's how those are occurring. And if we could prevent some of those, that would be fantastic.
Well, unfortunately, there's so much information you can find out online
Yes.
about people and who they're related to and all of that information that
Yeah.
our life is open book now.
Absolutely.
We're down to just a few minutes, so closing thoughts about what can we do to help keep Bolton safe?
In various areas. First, in the criminal aspect. Okay, like I said before, I'd like our community to keep an eye open for suspicious activity. We have 2 resident troopers here in town, Trooper First Class Kevin Cook and myself, and we also have a patrol trooper. But if it's a busy night on a Friday night, we need people. We need people to keep an eye open for us, or at least jot things down and be attentive to their surroundings. Okay, what goes hand in hand with that is home safety. Okay, and what I mean by home safety is let's not wait till I respond to your house and for burglary, and then give you a home security survey and say what you should do to better fortify your house. I'd like our residents to fortify their houses now before any possibility that a suspicious person can, enter their house when they're at work or at school or whatnot. So be vigilant with regards to locking not only your house,
Your car.
okay? A lot of times when I respond to a criminal event, whatever town it is that we cover at Troop K, I get the old, well, we live in the country. Well, we live in the country. We do live in the country, but criminal activity occurs no matter where you're at. Okay, so if we can do a better job ourselves, within our own communities, and not only in that capacity, looking out after yourself, but to look out after the neighbor next to you. I mean, even if there's not a great relationship there, I think the neighbor would be appreciative if you phoned in some suspicious activity, if you will. So I can't stress that enough, is to be vigilant with regard to that.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you as our new resident state trooper, and I certainly look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much, Joyce, and I look forward to being a resident trooper here in Bolton.
Good. Thank you for joining us today. Board of Finance is meeting this evening to decide on what budget should go forward to the public hearing. The public hearing on the budget is actually April 11th at 7 p.m. at the Bolton High School Commons, and certainly encourage you to attend to hear about the budget and the difficulties of this year and how we're going to move forward. Again, thank you to Community Voice Channel for its continued support, and I will see you in 2 weeks.